we call a stacked lunch. Nom, 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 nom.
Good morning, Sac City. Welcome into another edition of the Sac City Podcast. I'm your host, the one and only Vinny Milani, joined as always by my best friend in the whole entire world. He is Aaron, the Mukesiah Mukes. It is a beautiful November 14th morning here in the city. Episode 117 is about to kick off. Sunday's Week 10 action is behind us, and what a Sunday it was, Aaron. We had a lot of just wild action, lots of overtimes, got a lot of extra football, big-time matchups, big-time games, big-time players stepping up when they needed to. It was a lot of fun. We got recaps coming your way in just a few moments. Aaron, how was your Sunday of football?
It was good. It was good. Despite the Dallas Cowboys coming away with the L, it was good. I got to watch all the games again. I got to stay home and relax. And it's always fun when I get to watch everything, because then I get to come on here and tell everybody what happened, and they get to tell me I'm wrong or I'm right or one way or the other. But, when I actually get to see the games, all of the games, and, get to go back and watch stuff after it's all over, I feel like I bring more insight to the table. And we had a lot of backup quarterbacks playing. So that, that'll be some talking points there. But I'm excited to share our thoughts on Week 10 and how some of these teams move forward, and are some of these teams not out of it yet that we thought maybe we're out of it. So.
Yeah. I wanted to start things off by, I know we do our little morning headlines, but I'm going to change it up to a different question here, and do a question instead of headlines, and talk to you and ask you about some of these teams that we're seeing. Obviously, if you're watching, you probably already know the Vikings beat the Bills yesterday. The Bucks, they got a win yesterday over the Seahawks. Can you just give us a little insight on what teams you think are frauds and which teams you think we need to start saying, okay, these guys are the real deal? Like the Vikings, I was talking to a friend last night. He was like, the Vikings are legit. They have a shot at the Super Bowl. And I'm like, I don't know. And I don't want to hate on them. And we're going to talk about the game. We're going to give them their flowers when we talk about the game. But I want to know from you what your thoughts are on what teams are the real deal and what teams are actually frauds after Sunday's action.
Yeah, I think those are probably two of the extremes when you talk about words, frauds and like legit cream of the crop type teams. I think most teams fall somewhere in between there. When you talk about teams like the Minnesota Vikings, they're a good team. I'm not going to call them frauds, because I don't think we can reach that far and say 7-1, 8-1, or somebody is actually a fraud. But are they a legit Super Bowl contender? Do we envision the Minnesota Vikings holding that trophy at the end of the year with Kirk Cousins at quarterback and some of the things that he does? Or maybe that defense has been very, very opportunistic so far this season? I don't. So when we talk about contenders versus frauds, I think it's a little bit extreme. I think most teams fall somewhere in between there. I know a few things. I know the Kansas City Chiefs are contenders. I know that the Philadelphia Eagles are contenders. I know that the San Francisco 49ers are contenders. Outside of that, everybody else has got a chance. I think those are the only three teams that I look at that I could see winning a Super Bowl at the end of the season. Like, no, and I'm not saying no other team can win. I don't want my words to be misconstrued here. I think at the end of the season, I think those are the three teams that I look at. If they're holding the Super Bowl trophy, I'm like, yeah, I pretty much knew that the whole year. And yes, I did not say the Buffalo Bills in that sentence. And we will get to that when we get to that game, because I want to talk a little bit about the Bills. But there's three teams that I think could go win a Super Bowl right now, and I don't think would be very shocking at all. Kansas City Chiefs, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm not saying anybody else would be like, oh my God, they won the Super Bowl. But in my opinion, from what I see on the field, I think those three teams are the most complete. Those three teams make the fewest mistakes. Those three teams have the fewest flaws. And I think because of that, those are the three teams that I see as here, and everybody else is in the middle. And then you have obviously your bad teams.
Okay, that's fair.
And we'll definitely get into more of this when we talk about our power rankings. So.
Yeah, this is going to be I feel like I say it every week, but this is going to be a big week for the power rankings to really dive into more on who's legit and who's not legit. And not necessarily who's frauds, but who's actually got a real shot at this thing, and who doesn't. But let's get into it. You got injury report this morning? You want to go into inside the matchup?
I have an injury report.
You got injury? There it is.
Yeah, too many big-time injuries on a Sunday not to have something here. So we got a long list of guys that went out this past Sunday. Starting in Arizona, Zach Ertz, knee injury, did not return. I thought it was a pretty bad injury. It looked like it was pretty bad. I think this is going to be some time before we see Zach Ertz back on the field. That leaves Trey McBride, so maybe he's going to get some run going forward. But more injury problems there for Arizona. Buffalo Bills linebacker Tremaine Edmonds also went out. Did not return. It was a growing injury against Minnesota. That defense taking more hits on a defense that's already pretty banged up on the back end. Jerry Jeudy, he was ruled out pretty early in this one. It was an ankle injury. He was carted to the locker room. It's not his Achilles, they said, that they hope they dodged a bullet, but Judy's injury has to be of concern. Obviously, the Denver Broncos and that offense continues to struggle. We also saw Billy Turner, offensive tackle, go out for them. And then K'Wan Williams on their defensive side of the ball went out for them. So tough losses there for the Broncos as they continue to struggle. Khalil Herbert left that game against Detroit with David Montgomery being the main guy there now. Herbert had a hip issue. That's going to be big for the Bears because he had started to come along. Kansas City Chiefs lost Juju. We all saw what happened on that hit by Cisco from the Jaguars. He actually did it twice. Not called for the hit there was no flag thrown on the hit. Obviously Juju suffered a concussion, and we'll have to see on his status. It looked bad. It almost looked like Tua's concussion. He might be out a few weeks, so we'll have to wait to hear from that. The Chargers and their loss to the 49ers had a ton of injuries right where they didn't need the injuries. Otito Ogbonya and Christian Covington on that defensive line, already soft against the run. They lose both of those guys. And then Gerald Everett also did not return. He had a growing injury. That's big for their offense, already without Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Cooper Kupp, ankle injury. It didn't look good. It didn't sound good, but they don't have any updates yet. I'm not sure how long this is going to be. He already was injured. I think this just furthers that. Let's see what else we got here. If you weren't watching last night's game, Dre Greenlaw was ejected for that hit on Justin Herbert. I just thought that was important to mention. It wasn't an injury, but they did pull Justin Herbert out of the game and check him for a concussion. It might be something you want to monitor. We've seen guys go into concussion protocol after. Ask Matthew Stafford. So just something to monitor there. And then Tampa Bay, Leonard Fournette. Hip injury, did not return. Rachaad White, I told you guys go get him in fantasy. If you were looking at fantasy, I told you go get him because eventually his time was coming. He took over the bulk of that workload, and Leonard Fournette is now out with a hip injury, and we'll see how long that sidelines him. So long list of injuries. I may have missed some, but that's what I got today.
Yeah, there was one that literally just popped up while you were saying your injury report that has big implications for the Carolina Panthers. Panthers coach Steve Wilks has announced that PJ Walker has a high ankle sprain, meaning Baker Mayfield is back as the starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. So Sam Darnold will be the backup. PJ Walker out with a high ankle sprain. It's the Panthers, and Panthers. I don't know. Does it suck for the Panthers? Give them better draft position. Baker will start. I don't know. I don't know what the Panthers, to be completely honest. But let's get into more important stuff. Let's go inside the matchup.
It's time!
There is no other place to start this show off than right here with the overtime thriller featuring the Minnesota Vikings and the Buffalo Bills. The Vikings take down the Bills 33-30 in overtime. The Vikings move to 8-1. The Bills move to 6-3. The Vikings trailed in this one by 17 points in the third quarter. Come back, win this one on the road in Buffalo with a Josh Allen that had a lot of concerns coming into this game, whether or not he'd play with the elbow injury that nagged him all week. He played. He didn't look different? Maybe I don't know, Aaron. What let's start there with Josh Allen's performance in this one and your assessment of his play. 29 of 43, 330, a tutty, 2 interceptions, 84 rushing yards. Your assessment of Josh Allen coming into this game.
Oh, Josh Allen played fine if we're talking about the injury. I don't think the injury halted anything he was able to do. I thought they did a good job of managing him early so that his throws would not go up in the high 60s area, especially in an overtime game. He ended up throwing 43 times, but obviously there was overtime involved and that situation there. But them having to come back at the end of the game. But I think overall they managed him well. I thought his arm looked fine. I think he was short on like 1 or 2 throws at the beginning of the game, but I thought once he got loose, he was zipping the ball in there. People are going to point to the turnovers, the interceptions. Look, the last interception was just a bad throw. I don't understand what he was seeing. It's just a mistake by a quarterback who's really, really good. I don't like to overreact to these kind of games against 2 good teams. Yeah, Buffalo was at home. Yeah, Buffalo probably should have won this game. They gave up a 4th quarter lead. I have concerns about that defense. But let's give more credit to the Vikings here. I think Josh Allen played fine. The red zone interception was on 4th down. He was just trying to make a play through to Patrick Peterson. Again, not a big deal to me. It was either that or throw it away. Either way, they're turning the football over there. So I thought Josh Allen played fine. I think there are things that he wishes he did better. But it's Josh Allen. He's a good quarterback, guys. We expect all these quarterbacks to be flawless each and every week, and that's not going to happen. Josh Allen is a really, really good player in this league, the second best quarterback in football, and he struggles at times because he does try to do too much. But he also single-handedly keeps guys in games, keeps that team in games. So I think we deserve to give more credit to the Vikings today than we do need to take away from the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, and that's definitely where we have to go here. Is talking about the Vikings able to pull this one off again, down 17 entering the 3rd quarter and finding a way to come back. Man, this was such a wild game. I want to take us back through this moment here. This is it. The final play of the game. Well, not final play of the game. One of the final plays of regulation, and the Bills fumble the ball on their goal line. Vikings score a touchdown. That's what sends it to overtime. Let's talk about that play, Aaron, because I'm going to assume, and maybe I'm wrong here, but yesterday you said there's a lot of stupid coaches out there making stupid decisions. And I don't know, but something tells me that this decision might be one of those things that you're talking about.
It is. I absolutely hated that call. I hated that call. Look, I get it. You're trying to run a quarterback sneak just to move the pile, and that's all you have to do. I absolutely hate that call when you're on the 1-inch line of your own goal line. In my opinion, this is in my opinion, this situation, you're better off doing a lot of different things there. You're better off. The score was 30-26, 27. What was the score at the time? I want to say it was 30-26, right? So you're better off. You're better off taking a safety there than you are giving up a touchdown. You're in that situation. I'm lining up in shotgun formation, and I'm telling Josh Allen we're throwing the ball. I get it. Why do you want to throw the ball? Incomplete pass, stops the clock. Doesn't matter. None of it matters. You snap the ball. You tell Josh Allen either if the quick throw is not there and available, you run around and you throw it away. And you do that 3 straight times, and you're going to waste 10, 15 seconds off the clock at minimum. And then on 4th down, you do the exact same thing and you run out of the back of the end zone, or you know what I mean? And then you get the safety and you kick it away to them. I hate the quarterback sneak there because the one thing the quarterback has to do is get the ball quickly and go forward. This is not a quarterback sneak in the middle of the field where if he gets tackled for a -1 yard loss, it's okay. If you're going to go backwards here, you're going to take a safety. Josh Allen's not trying to take a safety. They're telling him, go get a yard. And because of that, he's pulling out quick. The center's trying to move quick, and it's a fumbled snap. I don't understand it. If you're going to fumble that snap through the back of the end zone and take a safety. And I get it. Coaches expect you to execute that play. But all that does is add extra pressure, or it's not even really a pressure, extra things that the quarterback has to worry about. He's trying to worry about getting the ball and then going forward so he doesn't get the safety instead of saying, hey, a safety here is okay. It is okay to take a safety here. Let's kick it away and let our defense do what the defense does with how much ever time is left. But you want to run as much clock as you can. Snap the ball, run around, throw it away. Snap the ball, run around, throw it away. Snap the ball, run around, throw it away, and then punt. Like, or run out the back of the end zone, whatever you want to do there. But I just feel like the coaching in these situations, they don't think. They really don't. And I'm not saying McDermott's a bad coach or Dorsey's a bad coach. I just think maybe it's the pressure of the moment. There's so much going on around them that they don't really take time to think about what do we want to do here from a strategy standpoint. And again, I'm not sure how much time was left on the clock. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I feel like they could have at least used 10 to 15 seconds at minimum. That's, you got Josh Allen. Him running around back there could be 5 seconds each play, and then throw it away as far as you can. Like, I think there could have been a better way to approach this. And again, I don't ever blame a game on one thing, so I don't think that's what cost them the game. They had the chance to win and they didn't. But I thought that was just a big play for the Bills. It's devastating when you lose a game that way.
Yeah, it was 23-27 at that point. And the Vikings had just turned it over on downs right there. And then there was 41 seconds left in the game for the Vikings to, I mean, really that was it.
The Vikings needed a touchdown. I do agree with one thing that I think, I don't know if McDermott said it or somebody said, like, you don't want to take a safety there on the first play. Because what that does is it gives them to 2 points. You kick the ball back to them. There's still 30 seconds left, and they only need a field goal to beat you. But like I said, if you run around a few plays, waste some time, throw the ball away 3 times, or at that point on 4th down, run around, take the safety. Now how much time is left? It's 20, 25 seconds. Like, it's a different ball game. And if you might complete a pass, and then you're fine and you win the game. Yeah, I just didn't love it. I know we're reacting after it went bad, but
and lots of instant reaction to what happened, and it was a big game. This is arguably the best game of the season to watch. It's right up there with Bills Chiefs. It's right up there with Chargers Chiefs had a good ending as well. Definitely game of the year candidate for this one. Let's talk about the Vikings, though, Aaron. Lots of standout players in this one. Kirk Cousins had 357 passing yards. Justin Jefferson had a big day, career high in yards and 193 and a tutty. Dalvin Cook, 100-plus rushing yards. Like, the stars came out in this game, even on the Bills side, to throw that back in there. What player stood out to you the most? Oh, and I don't want to discredit this. I've said a lot of offensive players. Shout out that man, Patrick Peterson. 2 interceptions, including that game winner. Shout out Patrick Peterson. But, Aaron, who was the standout player from this game to you?
The standout player was easily Justin Jefferson. He saved the game for them. He was the game. I'll be honest. Kirk Cousins didn't play well. I don't care what anybody says or saw. Kirk Cousins did not play well. He gifted the Bills many balls. He throws one up for grabs. This is not a smart throw. It's not a good throw. Justin Jefferson is just that dude. Best player on the field was Justin Jefferson, hands down. Like, he constantly made play after play after play, and he single-handedly kept Minnesota in the game. However, the biggest play of the game, I know people are going to say it's that one-handed 4th down catch. Yeah, because that obviously allowed them to continue. But I thought the momentum changed on Dalvin Cook's when they gave up that 70, 80-yard touchdown run. I thought that was the biggest play in the game because I thought Bills were in control. I thought they had everything going for them. And then he breaks off that big run, and it seemed to shift the momentum. And we all know this is a game of momentum, and what happens after that happens. Now the Bills can't move the ball. Now the Bills can't stop the Vikings. And I think that, to me, that was the biggest moment of the game. The biggest play that changed the outcome of this game was Dalvin Cook's run. I get it. Justin Jefferson's catch was amazing. Probably the greatest catch we're ever going to see, to be honest with you. I'm telling you, that was better than Odell's. It was better. Like, the way he just held on to it and wrapped it around. It was unbelievable. However, I thought the big Dalvin Cook run was the biggest play.
Yeah, it was huge, and that's what we talk about all the time with certain teams in the running game and the running game in general. It's so key. Like, although this league is becoming more of a pass heavy league, and the running back position, we're like, okay, let's throw the running backs to the wayside. Like, running still matters, and when you get a big play like that, it can be a turning point in a game. And Dalvin Cook brought that spark, brought that game changing, brought that game-changing moment to the game. It's funny that Justin Jefferson catch to me, like I might be on like a phenomenal catch, one of the best catches you'll ever see ever. But I don't know if you noticed, but like that DB on that play almost like helped him catch that ball. It was Justin Jefferson's one hand and then the DB's other hand squishing it together. And I'm like, dude, this catch is wild. Like, it's mind blowing.
The problem with that, first of all, the DB, terrible. This is taught at the youth level. 4th down, end of the game, Hail Marys. Stop trying to catch the ball. Your job is to knock it down. Your job is not to go get a stat and intercept the ball. Knock the ball down. If he just, instead of trying to catch it, if he just literally swipes the ball down, the game is over. And he doesn't do that. And IQ in football, it baffles my mind each and every week. And I've seen it again. And every time I see it now, it just doesn't surprise me. The selfishness in it, it's not really trying to be selfish, but it's that mentality of, I'm going to get a pick instead of I'm going to win the game.
Yeah, I think the Bills desperately need back Tre'Davious White in these big time matchups when there's a big time wide receiver out there. I think they desperately need him. I wasn't a fan of the secondary play, and obviously they're banged up in the secondary. I mean, Jordan Poyer, Trey White, like those guys all are key pieces that they're missing, and I think they were sadly missed here.
So I know we got to wrap this up, but this is what I wanted to get to when I didn't mention the Bills at the beginning of the show. This is the same thing we saw last year. And we talk about the end of the game, and you had asked me a question about close games and how they lose close games. It's not even that they're losing close games. It's their defense that's elite, that's good all game and all year. They can't stop people when they need stops. And we've seen it time and time again, whether it's 13 seconds against the Chiefs or an overtime against the Chiefs, or it's Minnesota down 17 points. Dalvin Cook runs one. Justin Jefferson on 4th and 18. They go down and score. Their defense is unable to get off the field when they need to get off the field in big moments. That is concerning for me. It's too much on Josh Allen. They cannot put games away. Why can't they put games away? It goes back to the same thing I said last year. They do not have an effective running game. It is Josh Allen. Even that last drive, how did they get to where they were able to get to overtime? Josh Allen was running the football. There is something wrong with the Buffalo Bills when it matters, and I am now concerned that in the playoffs, it's going to matter, and it's going to cost them from reaching the Super Bowl that they desperately want to get to, that they have the talent to get to, but they just haven't been able to get over that one hurdle. It was disappointing for Buffalo not to be able to close out that game.
Yeah, it was. It was. And then you said it earlier on in the show that there are 3 teams that could realistically win the Super Bowl. Starting to fade the Bills. He said that at the beginning of the show, and that's a big thing. And I it sucks because at the beginning of the season, my Super Bowl pick was the Bills Packers. That's not looking great now. It's not looking.
Well, you also had the Rams beating the Bills week 1, and the Rams are number 1 in the power rankings, so we know you're a little.
Did I have the Rams beating the Bills week? Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah.
At least in my preseason predictions, I did. Yeah, they beat the shit out of them. Okay, yeah. The Vikings though defeat the Buffalo Bills 33-30 in overtime. The next game that we're going into, it's the Denver Broncos. Whoa, I did that one right. Don't you dare shake your head. Don't.
Not even why I'm shaking my head.
I did that right.
I shook my head. Okay, so one, you led with the Bills and Vikings. I thought you just wanted to talk about that game because it was so good. You skipped the Buccaneers Seahawks.
No, I did not. If you look at the doc, it says start here, and that's it's the AFC. I wanted to start with the AFC specifically because of the Bills game. Because it has the first one on the ESPN thing, and that's the first AFC game. It says start here. I did everything right. The Denver Broncos fall to the Tennessee Titans 17-10. Again, another game with the Tennessee Titans only scoring 17 points. A shocker. And I don't know where Titans fans are going to be today in terms of hype of this game, but they won. They moved to 6-3 with another win. They beat the Broncos, who cannot figure it out on offense. The Broncos led 10-0 before the Titans scored the final 17 points. This game, I don't know what to take away from it, Aaron. You said you were dialed into football all day. When you look back at the Titans defeating the Broncos 17-10, what's your biggest takeaway from this one?
This was one of the worst games on TV. As a matter of fact, for most of the game, watching, like if you were just watching the Red Zone channel, and I tuned into this game a little bit, I watched more after the games were over because I just needed to see what happened. But if you were watching the Red Zone channel, I think at one point the Red Zone channel guy comes on and says, like, sorry, we haven't shown you much of this game, but it's been that bad. Nobody's been in the red zone. It was 0-0 for the longest time. Denver had the lead, then they didn't, and Tennessee was – listen – these teams have no shot. Neither one of these teams have a shot at winning anything. They're both bad football teams. And the Tennessee Titans are better than the Broncos, which is why they won. But I know what the narrative is going to be today. The narrative is going to be, see, we got Ryan Tannehill back. It looked exactly the same. You want to know the only difference? The difference was they actually let Ryan Tannehill throw the ball 36 times and didn't let Malik Willis throw the ball 36 times. They actually had Nick Westbrook-Aquino playing and Traylon Burks actually playing on the field, and they didn't have that for Malik Willis. Derrick Henry did not play well. And I'm getting a lot of feedback from your side. I'm not sure if it's you or me.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Anyways, sorry. Derrick Henry just did not. He didn't do much. Denver's defense was stout. Ryan Tannehill wasn't overly impressive, but yet today we're going to talk about how good Ryan Tannehill is and how the Tennessee Titans are good. No, I'm not doing that today. This was a bad game between two football teams that have no business even being talked about that much because neither one of them have a shot to go anywhere in the playoffs. You can't score 17 points in this league and win every single week. You just can't. You can do it against bad teams, but you can't do it against the Chiefs. We saw that. You can't do it against some of these other teams. The offense for Tennessee is bad. The offense for the Denver Broncos is bad. I'm good off this game. We don't even have to spend much time on it, to be honest. I thought it was exactly what we expected. It was low scoring. It was a defensive game. And both of these quarterbacks and both of these offenses are in deep trouble.
Yeah, both defenses very good. Both defenses are very bad. Both offenses very bad. In the second half alone, the Broncos second half punt. Like it's just, that's just not going to be winning you football games. Whether it's the injuries
again, buddy.
Huh? Yeah, because
audios. He just threw his mic on air.
Yeah, because I don't know what to do because I have fucking lawn people outside. And if I use my mic, yeah, great. But then if I'm not talking, you're going to be able to hear that, and then I have to mute myself. This is just great. This is fantastic. The Titans defeat the Denver Broncos 17-10. Now I got to fucking scroll up to find the goddamn next game. Next one on the list is the Jaguars falling to the Kansas City Chiefs 27-17. This one was almost exactly how we thought it would go, with the Jaguars not being quite there on the same level as the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs win at 27-17. Your takeaways from this one?
Yeah, Mahomes, the GOAT. Mahomes is the GOAT, man. Mahomes is so good. It's hard to put into words at this point. There's nothing else to say. I think we've cut every short possible about how I feel about Patrick Mahomes and how good he is. And once again, he comes out, best player on the field, 26 of 35, 300 plus, 4 touchdowns, threw the 1 pick, 92 QBR, a 92 QBR. It's ridiculous. Isaiah Pacheco had a nice day, 16 for 82. Obviously, Travis Kelce did what Travis Kelce does. Juju went out, and it didn't matter. Kadarius Toney, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Jerick McKinnon, Noah Gray. Who do you want to throw the ball to? 4 touchdowns, 4 different players. It does not matter who this guy has on his team. I don't care anymore. I don't care that people want to say, oh, well, he still has Travis Kelce. And yeah, he does. He has Travis Kelce. That's great. And then he has a bunch of outcasts that came from other teams that the teams didn't want. They gave all these players away to the Chiefs, and the Chiefs were like, yeah, we'll take you. You're fast. We'll take you. You can move a little. Oh, you got good hands. We'll take you. And you got a deep ball threat. We'll take you. And he turned them into the best offense in football. And it's at this point, I just don't want to hear anybody say anything bad about Patrick Mahomes the next time he has a bad game or anything like that. It's ridiculous. You're right. The Jaguars did what they could do. They tried to battle back. They did battle back. They tried to make it, a game. The Chiefs were just too good for them, and we knew that going into it. I think the bigger story here is you saw nice games from both Christian Kirk and Zay Jones. Trevor Lawrence played well. He didn't play bad. Like, I thought Trevor Lawrence played well, and I think those are the good signs because that Chiefs at home is a tough defense, and I thought Trevor Lawrence played pretty well. But the defense they're just young and overmatched for Kansas City's offense.
Yeah, I like what I saw from Trevor Lawrence in this game. It was obviously a tough loss to the Jags in a game we didn't think that they would be great in. But coming into the game, I had the thoughts of, okay, in a matchup where you're not favored in and you're supposed to get blown out and it's not supposed to look great, and you're searching for things to look for and hope for your team in this one, and you're like, okay, you want Trevor Lawrence to not look bad. You want him to be competitive. You want the offense to be competitive and try and keep up with the Chiefs. And then you want the defense to not get crushed. And I thought that although Patrick Mahomes did Patrick Mahomes things, I don't think that the Chiefs offense was like, I don't think they needed to be like this high-powered, crazy offense where they put up 40 points. They didn't need to do that. The Jaguars were getting a little bit more stops than I think I expected, at least. They looked pretty good. They had the Chiefs rattled at certain points. They gave this team a chance. They gave the Jags a chance in this game at times. I mean, and I love it's funny. No one seems to be talking about the Doug Peterson plays, onside kick to start the game. Like, if that didn't work, everyone would be losing their shit about it. But it worked, and then he went for it at times. Like, this was a good game. Like, this was one of the best losses for the Jaguars this season, and it wasn't even close. Like, this is the first game they lost by more than a possession. Like, this is a good game for the Jaguars. Obviously, a great game for the Chiefs because, well, we know the Chiefs are the Chiefs. But the Jags do fall in this one, 27-17. Jags move to 3-7, and the Chiefs move to 7-2. The Miami Dolphins defeat the Cleveland Browns 39-17. The Browns move to 3-6. The Dolphins move to 7-3. Another great day from Tua. Another great day from the offense for the Miami Dolphins. The Browns, though, move to 3-6. They are now one game away from Deshaun Watson returning or debuting for this team. They've got one game next week and then a bye, and then Watson returns in week 13. So that's on the horizon for them. But they follow this one 39-17. Aaron, your biggest takeaway from this one?
Yeah, the Cleveland Browns, honestly, it's the disappointment in their defense. The Miami's good. I told you Miami's offense is special. I told you they were going to be special. They can score with any of them. They have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. You add in the mix now, the running game that they've got going. But Cleveland's defense has been so disappointing, again, against the run. We watched it against the Chargers, giving up as many yards as they did against the Chargers and Austin Eckler. And then you see it again this week with Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson. Like, I get it. Those guys are cool, and it's a nice offense. They should be able to get some running lanes in there. But it's Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert. And this is not Austin Eckler. This is Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert. And you're going to go and allow that many rushing yards? I think that's a problem for me. You cannot give up 200 yards on the ground and expect to win football games. And we're going to talk about this later with another team. That's a lot of yards to give up. You have to be able to stop somebody from running the football, especially when they have a lead. Cleveland has not been able to do that. It's disappointing because when you get Deshaun Watson back, you're hoping, okay, offensively, we're going to be able to get things going. But not if you can give up 500 yards on defense and 39 points. Like, that's just not going to cut it. Miami had their way on offense, and it wasn't particularly close. Again, another game where Nick Chubb is getting the ball just 11 times. I don't understand it. That game is 17-7 at halftime. 17-7 is a 10-point game. You can still run the football. They tend to get away from their running game way too much. If Jacoby Brissett is throwing 35 times, the Cleveland Browns are not winning the game. Deshaun Watson throws 35 times. Then we could talk a little bit differently. But at 3-6 now, I think they need to win next week. I don't know that you can go 7. Wait, is it 3-6 or are they 3-7 now?
They're 3-6 right now. They're 3-6. Oh, so they did have their bye. That means they would have had their bye. Yeah, they did have their. Wait.
No, I thought that.
I have to look at their schedule.
Week 10, right? They're
in week 10.
they're 3-6 right now, so which is strange.
So that means they had their bye. So
yeah,
they're 3-6. They've had their bye. They've played 2 more games without.
Yeah,
Watson.
That's what I thought. That's what I was worried. That's what I was like. That makes sense. So, but you got the Bills and the Bucks. You have to win one of these games. If you're going 3-8, that means he's got to win out. Deshaun Watson has to come and win out, and I don't know that happens. So, you got to win one of these games. Give a little bit of breathing room. Otherwise, Cleveland is they're dead. They're dead. They're done. And it's the first year of Deshaun Watson that's basically wasted, which maybe they were okay with, but you want to see him come in and maybe just play well down the stretch and build for next year. But that defense has to raise some concern because they have way too much talent on that side of the football to be playing the way that they did.
Yeah. And the Dolphins in this one scored 24 unanswered points. The Browns were able to hop out to a 7-0 lead. And then the Dolphins just take over from there, scoring the 24 unanswered. The Dolphins did not punt for just the 5th time in franchise history and the first time since week 17 of 2003. No punts from the Dolphins. It was a good game from them offensively, making things happen with the guys and the weapons that they have. And just now adding another layer in Jeff Wilson Jr. To the mix to add to the weapons with this team. The Dolphins 39, the Browns 17. The Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the New Orleans Saints 20-10, pulling off the upset in a game that, well, the Steelers weren't favored. They were the underdogs in this one, but a lot of people had a sneaky suspicion that the Steelers could be able to pull this one out at home. They did so, 20-10 over the Saints. Aaron, what did you see from the Steelers that helped them get the dub here? Or maybe was it from the Saints side? Maybe it was that what did the Saints do wrong that helped the Steelers get the dub?
I'm done with the Saints. It's the same stuff I've been talking about all year. 8 carries for Alvin Kamara. I don't understand what's going on. I don't know what's happening in New Orleans. Maybe they don't want Alvin Kamara there anymore. I truly believe that. Like there has to be something because they only 15 times. I didn't even know Jordan Howard got called up and played yesterday. He had 1 carry, but Taysom Hill didn't get anything. Like what are we doing on offense if you're New Orleans? I firmly believe that we need to start wondering if Alvin Kamara is on his way out in New Orleans because or Dennis Allen's on his way out because you can't. There's no justification, no rhyme or reason that you can tell me Alvin Kamara is touching the ball 8 times as their main guy and I don't know. I can't even think of words. I don't even. You know me. When I'm at a loss for words, something's wrong. But I am at a loss for words about the Saints offense. On the Steelers side, I thought the Steelers played well. I thought I actually liked what I saw from Najee Harris. It wasn't the greatest game. He had that big long run of 36 yards, which inflated his numbers a little bit. But he ran a little harder. He broke some more tackles, and I was encouraged by that. So that was encouraging. But they were able to run the ball again, 217 yards on the ground from the Pittsburgh Steelers. When you run the ball like that, look at the scores, guys. You win. The teams that run the ball for 200+ yards are usually winning. I thought it was a good day for Kenny Pickett. He played clean football. He used his legs. I like that. We talked about that a little bit more. Jaylen Warren got involved. He had 70, 80 total yards. I just thought that they did a really good job of playing complete football in all 3 phases. And they did what Mike Tomlin always does throughout the points of the season is come away with the win that people may not expect.
Yeah, I think the Jaylen Warren thing is a really good point here because I think that is a big difference maker here. Using Jaylen Warren a little bit more. Obviously, Najee Harris still had 20 carries in this game, but using Jaylen Warren to like mix things up a little bit, he does bring that change of pace. Using him more and more, I think, is a big key to success for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You talk about Kenny Pickett running in this one. It's the most rushing yards in a game by a Steelers quarterback since 2010. He had 51 rushing yards. So that which might not come as a surprise to many thinking about Big Ben being their quarterback over the past decade. But
Big Ben was fast. Big Ben was the fastest player on offense in their Super Bowl run.
That is not great. That's that.
Big
Well, when was that Super Bowl run? When was that Super Bowl?
Remember when he chased down when Jerome Bettis fumbled at the goal line? Big Ben talked about it. He said he was the fastest player on the field on their offense. and that's why he was able to catch him.
Oh, so that's what you're referring to.
Save their trip to the Super Bowl. Yeah, he was an athlete. Big Ben had some once he got his momentum going, he could run a little bit.
He was just falling down. He was just falling downhill.
Now, when he got older, that man he couldn't move at all. He was just shedding people off. But yeah, back in his days, he was an athlete.
An athlete.
Athlete.
Well, Kenny Pickett carrying on the tradition then of great Steelers running quarterbacks, including Big Ben, and now Kenny Pickett joining that list. As the Steelers win this one and move to 3-6, and the Saints lose and move to 3-7. The Indianapolis Colts, Jeff Saturday, getting the dub in his first game as Colts head coach. They beat the Raiders 25-20. Not sure how much you put on Jeff Saturday in this game for the win. I really, honestly, Aaron, I want to talk about the Raiders because they lose this game in a game where a lot of people thought the Raiders would win because Jeff Saturday, everyone was down on him. They lose. They fall to 2-7 now. I don't know what to say about the Raiders. Maybe you have words. You're the analyst. Where are we at with the Raiders? Where are we at with Josh McDaniels as the head coach? Like, is it an overreaction to say that Josh McDaniels could be done after this year? Like, where are we at with the Raiders?
I'll be honest. I'm kind of in between because I don't think it benefits the Raiders to keep recycling through coaches. This is a problem the Raiders have had. I think that the Raiders need to have some stability there, and I think that's been part of the culture problem in Oakland and then now Las Vegas. So I'm not a fan of saying he needs to be fired, but there definitely needs to be some serious soul searching in the offseason. This team was supposed to have gotten better with the addition of Davante Adams. They were supposed to have gotten better with the addition of Chandler Jones. And it seems that they've went backwards. Now you run the risk of next year losing Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is the best player on their offense, him and Davante Adams. And it's clear, like when their offense was going yesterday in the middle of that game, second and third quarter, who was it? Josh Jacobs, Davante Adams. Josh Jacobs, Davante Adams. Everything else doesn't work. I think Josh McDaniels is kind of lost his mojo of play calling. Maybe it's the head coaching thing. Maybe it's his offense is stale. They're not very dynamic, but they have the players to be dynamic. I don't know. Offensively, they just don't wow me. And I think we're seeing a play caller that had some success in New England for a long time, was super creative. And he's just not that. He's just not that here. And I don't know what the difference is other than maybe his style of football has changed and he's not adapting with it. Yeah, I have serious concerns about the Raiders. I do. They're not a good team right now. They're not. You can't pick them to win games because they're not a good football team. However, I am not going to let you do what you did. You are not going to gloss over Jeff Saturday and the Indianapolis Colts. Saturday deserves a ton of credit. Well, you said this game is about the Raiders, and I'm –
I didn't say that this game was about the Raiders. I said I wanted to start off with the Raiders because they're falling into an abyss, and I think that one of the big reactions today from a lot of people that I've been seeing is talking about whether or not Josh McDaniels should be here at the end of the season or not. And I think that something that's very interesting to me about the Raiders, and we will get into the Colts, I will talk about them, is the fact that if you were to look at the stat line here and think about what we say all season long, Davante Adams, 9 receptions, 126 yards and a tutty. Josh Jacobs, 21 carries, 78 yards and a touchdown. Like, if you were to look at those stats, you would have thought that this would have been a Raiders win.
Yeah,
like that. That's what.
Stats. How about what I just said for 5 games already? How many yards did the Colts rush for? Like that. That's like 200 yards rushing again. If you run for 200 yards, you might. It's rare you lose. If you ran for 200 yards in 10 games, you probably lose once or twice. Like the defense didn't play well. So you can have all those great offensive numbers from great players because stats are just stats. They rack up stats when they're falling behind. That stuff, when you watch that game, the Colts for the majority of the game, for the beginning of the game and towards the end of that game, were dominating that game. Over 400 yards of total offense. They were 6 for 11 on third down. They ran the ball effectively. They didn't take many sacks. Like And that, which is what we talked about with them giving up. They didn't have the penalties that the Raiders had. Like all the key statistical data were on the Colts side. And then you have your great players on the Raiders side having good games.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, well, they should have won. Well, no, they just did what they do in every game. Devontae Adams is always going to play great for the most part. So is Josh Jacobs when he gets the ball. It's the other things that matter. And the Raiders don't have it. The Raiders just don't have it.
Which can then turn your focus to Josh McDaniels and that conversation that we had. But let's talk about the Colts. Let's talk about Jeff Saturday, his first game as Colts interim head coach. The last head coach with no college or any professional coaching experience at all was 1961. And that coach got the win. Jeff Saturday joins that. Jeff Saturday now joins that list. And hold on, let me set the scene. Let me set the stage for the Colts here. You got Jeff Saturday coaching in his first game after no coaching experience whatsoever. You have the surprise turn of the century, a big wrestling move, in my opinion, a big-time WWE-esque move here of Sam Ehlinger is supposed to be the starting quarterback for the foreseeable future, and then all of a sudden, warm-ups are happening, and we're like, by God, that's Matt Ryan, and he's taking snaps with the ones, and then he starts this game, and no one expected Matt Ryan to be here in this game, but he was, and he started this game. We get Jonathan Taylor's return, and he kills it. Where do you want to go first when we talk about the Colts in this one?
Well, first of all, I'm tired of the conversation about the no coaching experience of Jeff Saturday. I don't care. And I know this is people going to call me a sellout because I'm black and blah, blah. I don't care. Listen, I'm a black man who's coached football at the same level as Jeff Saturday, high school. And guess what? If I walked into a building and somebody told me, hey, I want to give you the coaching job right now to the Indianapolis Colts, guess what I'm going to tell you? Yup, sign me up. Like, it's not Jeff Saturday's fault. You want to get on Jim Irsay and them for giving him the opportunity? Whatever. I don't care. I've gone through this in my own personal career about people saying you can't have a job because you don't have any experience. It's the dumbest conversation I've ever heard. That experience is great, and that can be a determining factor, but you cannot tell somebody that they are not going to be the best person for the job because they don't have the experience. And I think that is the biggest misconception in all of every industry, every single industry. Go ahead.
You know, it kind of just hit me. You know, all these people that are referring to like hating this hire of Jeff Saturday as the interim head coach because he has no experience. If you look at it, all these people are analysts on these shows, former football players, former NFL guys. They got hired not because of their analyst experience, not because of their on-cam roles. Like we talk about it in this industry all the time. You and I were like, you and I are never going to be able to really make it as analysts on an NFL show because we've never played in the league. But it's because of that, and it's like, okay, they played in the league, so that gives them the credit to become an analyst, and then they work through it.
They know the X's, they know the X's and O's, but they've never been on TV like that before.
So, but now Jeff Saturday gets the job, and it's like, oh my God, what are we doing here? We can't have this. But those same people that are complaining about that got their jobs because of that same thing.
Exactly. This is the hypocritical. This is what we do in sports. Because I've never played a game, I can't possibly know. Because I've never coached a game, how could I be possibly the best coach for the job? Listen, we've watched coach after coach get hired 20 times and be unsuccessful, and that man gets another job because he's got experience. And we've watched young guys come in here and take the league by storm. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And I'm not here to say Jeff Saturday is a great coach. But you know what Jeff Saturday did? He stood up on that podium. He said, I've seen what winning looks like. I've been around winners. I know how to lead men. And I bought right into that. I said, you know what? I'm with it. Let him have his opportunity. What is his first move as head coach? Already playing with the media. Says that Sam Ehlinger's the starter, and on game day, boom, it's Matt Ryan. The best move was bringing Matt Ryan back because you know what? He knew he had no chance of winning with Sam Ehlinger. He knew that Frank Reich should have never benched Matt Ryan, and Matt Ryan was healthy, so he said, we're going back to the guy who has experience, MVP, Super Bowl experience. And what does Matt Ryan do? Plays like the guy that should be under center. because he should be under center. So all the talk about the Jeff Saturday stuff, it's just people wanting to be out there and say, I don't agree with it. I don't care if you're Bill Cowher who didn't like it. I don't care if you're the analyst on TV that didn't like it. If you were given that opportunity, you would take it. And you would think that you were the best person for the job. And so it's very hypocritical for people to come out and talk shit about Jeff Saturday when he has a resume in this league. This isn't me getting hired and never been a part of anything in the NFL. Okay, so I want that conversation to go away, and winning will do that. Do I think they're going to win a lot of games? No, but I think they're a much more competent football team with Matt Ryan under center, and I think Matt Ryan can stabilize them to be good enough to where we look at Jeff Saturday and said, you know what? They're a lot better now than they were when they were with Frank Wright, and Frank Wright's been a head coach in this league. So I just want to shut that narrative down. But the best thing Jeff Saturday did was say, I'm going to Matt Ryan. Like, I'm going to go to the guy that I know has been in situations that can get me W's, and that's what we're going to do. And I'm super happy for Jeff Saturday, super happy for the Colts because I was expecting a lot from them this year. I still don't think they're that good of a football team, but with Jonathan Taylor back and Matt Ryan under center, you have a chance to win games.
This may be an overreaction. I might ruin everything we just said by talking about this, but I don't know if they're completely out of it. And I this may be me. I held on to hope with this team before, and I was like, okay, maybe they'll figure it out. And then now they're 4-5-1. But we see what the Titans are doing, and I mean, is it? I guess their schedule is a little, their schedule is the tougher the tougher one. That's why I didn't want to get into me saying they have a shot until I looked at their schedule. Eagles next,
but they can beat Pittsburgh. They can beat Pittsburgh. They could beat the Chargers. They could beat the Giants. They could beat they could beat Dallas if Dallas give up 200 yards rushing again. They can beat the Texans. They can go. I think they can go about 500. They could be 9-8, 8-9. And I think that would be a success for
8-1.
Jeff Saturday, or whatever, 8-1.
Yeah, they got that tie that's nagging them, but they do move to 4-5-1. Jeff Saturday picks up his win in his debut for the Indianapolis Colts, defeating the Raiders 25-20. Aaron, let's go inside the matchups for the NFC game. Aaron, I know that this is where you really wanted to go to start because of what happened earlier. Germany, Munich, Seattle, Tampa Bay. The Bucks win this one 21-16, move to 5-5. Seahawks 6-4. We are slowly starting to see the return of Tom Brady. And you know what? I really like this game from the Bucs side of things. They didn't have Tom Brady throw it 50 times in this game. He only threw it 29, and he was efficient. 22 of 29, 258, 2 tutties. Sure, he had an interception, but this is the slow return of Mr. Tom Brady. And Aaron, before we get into talking about the Bucs win here, I want to say this ridiculous stat. This ridiculous stat. Tom Brady just adds another little chip to his resume here. Brady now becomes the first quarterback to win in 4 different countries. He's won in America, he's won in England, he's won in Mexico, and now he has won in Germany. The first quarterback to ever win in 4 different countries. Now, to the real analysis of this game. Aaron, your takeaways from the Bucs win.
Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr., born August 3rd, 1977, is back, baby. He's back. He's not going anywhere. Gisele's gone. We get it. I'm sorry he had to go through this divorce, but I think there has been a mental weight lifted off of Tom Brady's shoulders, and it has allowed this team to reap the benefits. Listen, Tom Brady looked like Tom Brady. I get it. They still only scored 21 points, but the running game, 161 yards on the ground. They were running the football, 85 QBR. He went 22 of 29, 258. They played solid defense. They stopped the Seattle Seahawks from moving the ball down the field early in that game. Seahawks got things going, great adjustments at halftime. Shout out to Pete Carroll for that. But Tampa Bay was able to hold on and get the win, a big win, a much-needed win. We know they're going to be in the playoffs. because they're going to win that division by default. And when you get in the playoffs and Thomas Brady is under center, you have a shot. And so Thomas is back. This guy right here, the combine king, all that hard rock of a muscle right there, 6-pack abs and all. He's back, baby. The GOAT is back.
This is what I was trying to talk about before, and I think this was different than what we saw last year, and maybe we're jumping on this too early, but with these teams that are almost guaranteed a playoff spot, you can't overreact to their struggles, and I feel like we almost did that this season with the Bucs, and their struggles were real. And their struggles are still real. I don't know if their offensive line is still going to be able to hold up when it comes down to it. I don't know if they're going to be able to win games when it comes down to it against the better teams in this league. But we have been giving Seattle credit for a very long time now. For all season, we've been very high. So let's not shrug this off like it's just another win for the Bucs and it's just the Seahawks. Because the Seahawks, this is a great win for the Bucs. This is a great win for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and for the Seattle Seahawks standpoint, or for beating the Seattle Seahawks, this team has been scoring points all season, and one of the biggest strengths of this Tampa Bay team has been that defense, and they showed up again in this game, forcing the Seahawks to score their lowest points of the season since week 2, which was against the 49ers, who are also a very, very good defense. I am afraid, Aaron. I'm a scared little man. I am a scared little dude because the world let Tom Brady come back into this. They didn't kill Brady when they had the chance. The Falcons did not win the NFC South when they had the chance. The Saints couldn't do it. They had the chance, and they kept Tom Brady in it. It's game over, man.
Brady. You can't kill Brady.
You just
can't. You can't kill Brady. Brady's the GOAT, man. Listen, I know I talk a lot about Patrick Mahomes on here, but we all understand who the greatest quarterback of all time is, and it's this guy. It's Tom Brady. And it's not – it's his will to win. It's his – and you see it, like you just see it. I'm telling you right now, and I don't want to keep making light of this, but there is something mental about having that weight lifted off of his shoulder. You can see it. He looks like a more confident, comfortable individual with it just having some closure. Julio Jones is look at Julio. The resurrection of Julio Jones is back. You got Mike Evans. You got Chris Godwin. And so Fournette went out. That's okay. You got Rashad White. He's a young, talented player. Cade Otton played really, really well. Cameron Brate is back, and that defense is solid. That defense held Seattle to 1 for 9 on third down, while Tom Brady and that offense went 10 of 15 on third down. 10 of 15, insane. Great win for Tampa. Like you said, you can't discredit this win because Seattle has played really good football throughout this year, and Tampa Bay put up 400 yards on that defense that had gotten better, and they played really well. It's even with 2 turnovers, like Brady threw a pick and Leonard Fournette threw a pick, and they were still able. They were still able to put up enough points to win the game. Shout out to Tampa Bay. I think that I don't want to say, like I said I Tom Brady is back. I don't think Tampa is back quite yet, but over the next 3 weeks or before the 3rd week, they have a couple of games that they can get right. They go Browns, Saints. I think those are winnable games. They should win it. Leads into that matchup with the 49ers. And Bengals, and I think those are their last 2 tough games of the year. You're looking at another 10-win season for Tampa Bay, 9-10 wins, and which will easily win that division because it's just so bad.
Yeah, and this was a game, and like you brought up Rashad White, and he deserves a lot of credit too. You've been saying, and you've been high on him possibly taking over, at least for fantasy sides of things, going out and getting him, because in this game, 22 carries, 105 yards. Leonard Fournette goes down. Maybe starting to see a slow change of the guard at the running back position for the Bucs as they win this one. Any takeaways from the Seahawks? They kept it close. 21-16 is not a score to be disappointed at. Is there anything to take away from the Seahawks here? You're on mute.
My squeaky chair always makes me put it on mute. Slow start in this one. They didn't get off to a good start. Couldn't get the running game going. I thought that was the biggest difference in the game. We saw Ken Walker in the past had been getting, off pretty loose, pretty easily. 10 carries, 17 yards. That ain't going to cut it. He did some work in the passing game, but that's not really where you're going to like impact the defense. And I think that was the problem. Only 39 yards rushing in the game. I thought that was huge. But Seattle did get things going. Geno picked it up in the second half. I like that they were resilient and fought. And Geno still ended up playing pretty well. I think Seattle's for real as far as an offense and just as a team and being somebody that is going to have an opportunity to win football games. I don't think they'll have much success in the playoffs, but I do think that they can get there. And I think that that's a step. I mean, that's a huge step for Seattle. I think we have to temper our expectations and understand what we thought this team was going to be versus where they're at now. They are a much, much further ahead of where we thought they were at in their rebuild process than they actually are. And you give this team a year or two working together with all that young talent, improving, they're going to be right back contending for division titles and chances to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And I think I like the point about the Ken Walker. That's the key to this offense, I think, is being able to get Ken Walker going, running the ball, opening things up for Geno Smith to make plays. But the Seahawks do fall to the Buccaneers 21-16. The Chicago Bears blow a fourth quarter lead to the Detroit Lions. The Lions win 31-30. The Lions were trailing 14 points when entering this fourth quarter. They found a way to win. This was another great day for Justin Fields, a good day for the Detroit Lions. This was between two teams that are lower in the league in terms of like the hierarchy. I thought this was a very good game. I thought it was very fun, an exciting game. I don't know where you're at with this, Aaron, but I really enjoyed this one. And between two teams that are on the rise, an NFC North battle. It looked good. What were your takeaways from this one?
Yeah, I thought both defenses suck.
Yep.
That's what we thought coming into it. I think the offenses are further along than the defense on both of these teams. But this storyline here, shout out to the Lions, first of all, for getting the win, the comeback win. I don't care. Like they got their first road win since 2020, which is great for Dan Campbell and those guys. But this is about Justin Fields, and I'll say it every week for the rest of the season. I watch Justin Fields play. I say, okay, they found their guy. Like, I don't think there's a debate anymore. They found their guy. And yes, some guys don't like that he's running around so much and having to run for his life. But this is what he has to do as a young quarterback, and he's handling it with grace and expertise. And, yeah, did he throw a bad interception? Sure. That's going to happen when you're a young quarterback. I don't care. I want to see growth. I want to see that I know I got my franchise guy and I can start building around him. And I think that's been proven now over the past month and a half. Once again, his ability to extend plays is like nobody else. It's Lamar Jackson. These two guys are able to do that. But I will tell you this, Justin Fields, and this may sound crazy, he has something Lamar doesn't have, his ability to break tackles. Lamar does not break tackles. Lamar is very shifty and can get away from people. I watched Justin Fields getting grabbed by defensive linemen and spinning out of it and breaking multiple tackles to extend plays because he's bigger. He's just a bigger guy. He's physical, and I love that. To me, I think that is where the difference between him and Lamar come in, because I think his longevity, being a bigger guy and being able to take a little bit more of a pounding, helps. Now, there are times where I think he needs to get down a little bit quicker, where Lamar does a really good job of protecting himself. That he'll have to grow into, but I'm just super impressed with Justin Fields, especially how much criticism I gave him coming from Ohio State and coming out of the draft. I wasn't sure. It didn't look good early with Nagy. It didn't look good early with Eberflus. I'm fully on board with the Justin Fields train. You have to do everything you can to surround him with an offensive line, the requisite weapons, and build a defense. And he can win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yes, I said it. He can win a Super Bowl.
No, I agree. I am not far off of that thought that Justin Fields is that dude. And I really liked what I saw from him yesterday. Obviously breaking records, kicking ass, taking names, but they did lose this game to the Lions. And let's talk about the Lions a little bit, Aaron. What did you see? Is there anything that stood out from you in this win for them? They were able to come back down 14 entering the fourth quarter, finding a way to win, getting that first road win for Dan Campbell. Anything that stood out from you from the Lions?
Honestly, not really. They didn't turn the football over. I thought that was big. This is the one game that the team ran for 200 yards on them, and they still won, which is the Detroit Lions. Chicago ran for almost 258 yards on them. The Lions still won. I just think this is more about Chicago's lack of being able to close out the game. Their defense is not very good. And then also the mindset that Dan Campbell has instilled in this Lions organization. They don't quit. They never quit. That's not what – and in Lions years past, we've watched games where they get down and it's just over. You know it's over. Dan Campbell does not allow that to happen. He constantly stays on the gas pedal, and I love that. The mentality for Dan Campbell is there. It just has to start equating to wins. I've said that a number of times. It has over the last couple of weeks, and you're starting to see some progress. I still think they need their franchise guy. I think Dan Campbell's job is safe. When they get that quarterback under center, that I believe is the game changer, when they draft him, I think that'll be this year, that's when I will start judging where Dan Campbell is and whether he needs to continue to have that job or not. But right now, he's done a great job at changing the culture in Detroit, and they react to him and they play for him, and that's something that's more important than people realize.
Yeah, and shout out Jeff Okudah, who had a big pick six in this game as well. Someone that a lot of people were down on, battled a lot of injuries coming out of Ohio State, being drafted very high. He was able to put on for the Lions in this one as they defeat the Chicago Bears 31-30. The New York Giants continue rolling as they defeat the Houston Texans 24-16. They move to 7-2. Texans 7-1. The Giants earned their 7th win this season against the Texans. It's the first time they have won 7+ games in a season since 2016. They looked good doing it in this one against a team that they should have beaten. They did. They got the job done. Aaron, what did you see from the Giants in this one, in the game that they were supposed to win?
Saquon Barkley. He's good at football. Their whole season is predicated on if Saquon Barkley can stay healthy. 35 carries, 150 yards, and a touchdown. They don't win this game if it's not for Saquon Barkley. And this is a game where they're playing the Houston Texans at home, and it was close for the majority of this game. It was a 7-3 game at the half. They played Houston. Houston's the worst team in the league. I didn't take much away from this game for the Giants other than they still struggle to put points on the board. The defense is really good, which it has been for a number of years now, and that Saquon Barkley is the engine that drives this team. But they fit that mold of like Tennessee with me. It's cool they're winning games, but they're not going to go anywhere. They don't have a chance to win in the playoffs because they don't have the playmakers on the outside. Daniel Jones is not good enough to do what he needs to do to win those games, and I think that's the problem. But they're a nice story because they're finally winning, and Brian Daboll has done a hell of a job to turn these close games into wins. But for this season, I think that's all it is. It's just a nice story. The Giants will make the playoffs. The Giants will have a nice little run and probably be out in the first or second round, depending on who their matchup is in the first round.
Yeah, no, I don't have that. I don't have that many disputes there with the New York Giants. They continue to roll though. They're 7-2. They're staying right at the top, right near the top of the NFC and right near the top of the NFC East as they defeat the Houston Texans 24-16. Here you go, Aaron. That's it. This is it right here. The Green Bay Packers defeat the Dallas Cowboys 31-28 in overtime. A thriller between these two teams. One of the best games on Sunday's action. The Packers, though, finish the job. They spoil Mike McCarthy's return back to Green Bay 31-28. Let's go big picture here, Aaron. Let's talk big picture. Packers get this win, a big win, a much-needed win. I always ask you that question, is if a game is a must-win game for the Packers. This one here was very close to that as a must-win for Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers. They get the job done 31-28. Let's start with the Packers. Let's start big picture. Takeaways from them in this win.
Yeah, they were able to run the football. I thought they did. I thought they had a smart game plan, especially to start this game. They were going to commit to the running game. They knew Dallas. Dallas is not good against the run, but it's not because they don't want to be good against the run. And I think people need to understand this. They choose to allow teams to run the football because they want to create situational football. So they will allow you to run because they say, okay, if we stop you on first down, if we don't give up the 7-yard run on first down and we make it 2nd and 9. Now we have the advantage because we have the pass rushers. If we commit on first down, we're giving up more chunk plays. So it's a schematic thing. They were okay with allowing the run game, and they were ahead 28-14 in this game with that same run game going off, right? And that's exactly what Dallas wants to do. They just couldn't finish. They couldn't finish. The Packers, they stuck to the game plan. I think that's what it was. The biggest thing was they stuck to the game plan, and they never wavered. And they found a way to get it done. And Aaron Rodgers made plays when it mattered, and guys stepped up. Christian Watson, I'll be honest, I'm not overly excited about his 3-touchdown game. But a young guy with a number of like a superior talent that we talked about that he has. He does have talent. 2 more drops in this game. He easily could have been washed out of that game. Comes up, Aaron Rodgers keeps going to him. He makes 3 huge touchdown catches. Maybe that gets him confidence going forward. Maybe they could have found something. I don't know if I buy it. I think this is probably the one-off game for him. But he had a great game, and he stepped up when it mattered the most, and that's how the Packers got the win. I thought it was the running game, and I thought it was big throws and big moments and big-time catches by Christian Watson. That really was the difference. Other than that, they didn't do anything special. It's just they made the plays when it mattered the most. And in the second half, specifically the fourth quarter and overtime, they were the team with the momentum, and you saw that.
Yeah, and I think that I want to be fair here to Christian Watson because and fair towards the Packers wide receiver group as a whole. When Romeo Doubs went off and started playing well, I was like, I'm really worried about Christian Watson falling back because the injuries that he's had set him back, and now Romeo Doubs stepping up. Well, now the role is reversed. Doubs is hurt, and Christian Watson is stepping up, and now I want to be fair that one of these, I think you were right in the beginning.
Watson will be hurt next week.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I was scared shitless when he did that backflip after the first touchdown. I was like, man, you can't be doing that. You're going to hurt yourself.
He actually did get hurt in this game. He rolled his ankle later.
Yeah.
The kid is made of glass.
He is. But let's talk about the Cowboys here, and let's talk about the play call in overtime that may be the turning point or the most controversial call of this game, where they're on the 35-yard line in overtime, 4th and 3, and instead of sending out Brett Maher to kick the field goal, it would have been a 53-yarder. Instead of doing that, they decide to go for it, and they don't get it. What do you make of that? Is this not that big of a deal to you?
No, I don't care. Listen, okay. Everybody that cares are Cowboys fans or analysts that want to criticize Mike McCarthy because they don't feel like he's a good coach. Listen, he went for it twice early in the game on 4th downs. We got it. We ended up scoring touchdowns. Nobody said nothing. Nobody mentions those. Yeah. Nobody mentions when we go for it and get it. It's 4th and 3. I for one, I'm not going to be a hypocritical analyst here. I for one come on here every single week and I criticize coaches that play it safe and settle for a field goal in overtime, especially that first possession, and don't play for the win. Like, don't go for touchdowns. I get so tired of it. You're running your offense, you're moving the ball down the field, and then you get scared and you got to go for the field goal, and then you end up losing the game or whatever. I'm good with it. It was 4th and 3. People don't realize if you miss that field goal there, then they have the ball at the 42-yard line. They need 15, 20 yards, and they kick the game-winning field goal anyways. It's Aaron Rodgers on the other side. Who's to say we kick the field goal there? Even if we make it, Aaron Rodgers doesn't drive down the field and score a touchdown and we lose anyways. Like, go for the touchdown. Go for the win. I don't care. That is not why the Cowboys lost this game. The Cowboys lost this game because it was 28-14, and Green Bay started stopping them. They couldn't move the ball on 3rd down when they needed to keep drives alive. The running game wasn't working. Despite Tony Pollard's last touchdown that he had, he didn't really run that well in this game. Again, I saw him, and I'm not trying to criticize Tony Pollard in any way, but we need more depth there. We need that second horse, another guy that's going to take 10 touches off of the workload, because we couldn't continue to go to him. He was tired. I saw it, and he couldn't do it, and he had the nice run for the touchdown, but there were times he's calling to come off the field, and we're putting in backups that we've never heard of. So we need Zeke back to take some load off of Tony Pollard, and CeeDee Lamb balled out, by the way. I thought he had a great game. Offensively was fine. Dak threw 2 picks. They were, Early in the game, we were up 28-14 after that. None of that matters. That's all football. The fact of the matter is they could not stop Green Bay momentum once they got it, and that the defense didn't play great. The defense did not play great in this one. I thought the biggest key to Dallas losing this game, which, again, nobody will talk about, was when Anthony Brown left for the game. That was it. Nobody even knows Anthony Brown left. That's how bad, like, people want to just like, oh, pick and choose stuff. Like, when Anthony Brown left this game, they torched Dallas on that side of the – Diggs wasn't giving up anything. Like, it was on that side. And that is the biggest thing that, to me, what I saw when that happened. And I think that's not being talked about enough. But the depth at the Dallas Cowboys now in the secondary has taken a hit when you lose a Jordan Lewis, who's now out for the season. Anthony Brown comes in, and then you have guys over there like Deron Bland, who's a rookie. And, Kelvin Joseph hasn't been very good. But Deron Bland struggled in this one. He's been playing well, but he just did not play well in this game, and he got burned a number of times. And that was the difference.
Yeah. Nah, and you saw from Christian Watson's day, you would assume, and I don't know the exact statistics of it all, with Trayvon Diggs and Alan Lazard and being on that, maybe obviously doesn't shadow, but you would assume that a lot of the Christian Watson's production came on that same side of the lack of Anthony Brown.
It was all of it. It was literally all on Deron Bland. And even the last play in overtime where Alan Lazard got that little slant, it was on Deron Bland. It was a rookie who got exposed in this game. But we're not going to talk about that. We are, but we won't talk about that. We will talk about, Dallas Cowboys defense didn't play well. Dak threw 2 picks.
It'll all really, I would assume, and I haven't watched too much of the daily news today or whatever. I have not seen a lot today, but I'm going to assume that there's going to be a lot of chatter about the 4th and 3 call from Mike McCarthy. That's going to be it right there. And
Green Bay,
the talk of Mike McCarthy. And
Green Bay is 9-1 in their last 10 games against Dallas. It's a bad matchup for the Cowboys. It has been for a while. Aaron Rodgers, he owns the Bears. He could say he owns the Cowboys. Since the last 10 matchups, the Packers are 9-1 in Aaron Rodgers since 2010 or 2009 or 2008, something like that. So not surprising here.
Yeah, no, it's not.
But
this is the first.
But I want to make it very clear. It's okay to lose in the NFL, guys. Yeah. Like, I'm a Cowboys fan, and there's outrage, and I'm like, dude, what do you think they were going to go never lose a game again for the rest of the season? Like,
and they're still
the NFL.
They're still 6-3 and in a good position to make the playoffs here. This is though the first time in franchise history that the Cowboys have led by 14 plus entering the fourth quarter and lost. Their record is now 195 and 1, but they lose to the Packers 31-28. Packers 4-6 now. Cowboys 6-3. Battle of the backups here. Colt McCoy leads the Arizona Cardinals past John Wolford and the Rams 27-17 here. Let's talk about probably the biggest thing in this one. Obviously, in a game with a lot of backups, there isn't a lot of much meat on the bones in this game. Colt McCoy, John Wolford is what it is. Cooper Kupp goes down in this one, rolls his ankle, doesn't look good. The Rams might already be done before losing Cooper Kupp. If Cooper Kupp misses time, Aaron, it's game over, right? The
game's over. The game's over. The Rams sold out for a championship and they won it. And it's over. The game is over for the Los Angeles Rams. They don't have a chance. Odell's not coming back. Don't worry. He's not going to the Rams. He wants to win. And he knows that they're not winning. It's over. The offensive line's bad.
It's over.
The defense isn't good. It's over. Los Angeles Rams fans, congratulations. You got your Super Bowl. And I'm not knocking it. Like, it was the right thing to do. Now you got to figure it out. Now you got to go and get assets and rebuild this thing and start again. You still got Stafford as your franchise quarterback. You still got, you hope Aaron Donald plays for a couple of more years or whatever. Still got Jalen Ramsey. You got some cornerstones there, but you go and build through the draft and you try to get some more assets. And the main thing you need to start is with that offensive line. Start with that offensive line, build there and move on. But this season for the Rams, it's over. It's not. They're done. They're done. Before Cooper Kupp was injured, before Cooper last week, they were done. They weren't winning anything this year. And the fact of the matter is Cooper Kupp played in this game and they still weren't winning this game. Like, I know he got hurt in this game, but they weren't going to win this game anyways. They relied heavily on him. And then in this game, they really weren't. He had 5 targets before he left the game, I think. Allen Robinson actually had 4. Tyler Higbee played well in this one. Van Jefferson caught a touchdown late. But their offense is not good. Cam Akers, 6 carries, 22 yards. Darrell Henderson, 6 carries, 21 yards. Nothing in the run game. Nothing in the run game. Their offense is just, it's not it. And this is, I just want to make a public service announcement to all the Cooper Kupp fans out there. I don't pray on anybody's downfall, and I don't pray on Cooper Kupp getting hurt in any means. But if there's one thing that I can tell you, if you watch the wide receivers this weekend, it further proves, well, we already knew Tyreek Hill was better than Cooper Kupp, but it further proves that Stephon Diggs, that Justin Jefferson, that Devontae Adams, they're all better than Cooper Kupp. They're all better than Cooper Kupp from a skill set wise, because what they do, like Cooper Kupp can't do. Like, Cooper Kupp is great, but he can't do what they do. Like, he's not doing what they do. I don't even know how to explain it. Just watch the game. He can't do what they do, but top 7, 8 receiver in the league. I always said that. That's fine, but don't put him up there with those guys, man. Justin Jefferson's a different breed. Stephon Diggs is a different breed. Devontae Adams is a different breed, and we all know Tyreek Hill a different breed. So let's get back to reality here. Rams are done.
Yeah, and I do feel obligated to do this. I had to show the John Wolford B-roll, and I do want to show the James Conner B-roll. James Conner, season-high 67 rush yards, 2 tutties in this one. Really, I want to show both these videos because shout out our guy Tyler for clipping this and having to sit through and clip John Wolford B-roll like that, and James Conner B-roll in this shit fest.
Whoa. Don't
backups.
Put John Wolford in the same sentence as James Conner. James Conner's had success in this league.
I'm putting them all in the same category that we were all forced to deal with this game, and it happened. It's over. Cardinals 4-6. They could be right back in it.
Done.
They could. Okay, they're done. Got it. Oh, they lose. They win this one though, 27-17 over the Rams. Let's turn our attention to prime time football. I screwed you up on that one. You're going to hate me for that transition. Primetime football Sunday night. The Niners defeat the Chargers 22-16. Niners defense still looking as good as ever as they defeat the Chargers, snapping their 5-game win streak versus the 49ers. They win 22-16. Aaron, your overall takeaways from this one? Whoopsies.
That is not the right score. Where do you want me to start? 49ers or Chargers? Because I could go either way.
Let's start from the 49ers. They won this game. Give them their flowers.
Yeah, I've been giving the 49ers their flowers. I told you it's one of the 3 teams in the NFL that right now I think could win the Super Bowl for a number of reasons, mainly because that defense is really good. Secondly is because they got Christian McCaffrey and a game changer. And thirdly is because they are one of the most balanced, most versatile teams out there. Elijah Mitchell was backing out, carried Christian McCaffrey in this game. Don't get too crazy, people. It was done that way for a reason. I think you're going to see more of this. I think you're going to see more of this. You're going to see that tandem back. Christian McCaffrey will still get plenty of opportunities, and when they need him, they're going to go to him. But I thought that Shanahan did an excellent job of getting different guys involved. Debo got some run, and he didn't even play that well at receiver, but he got some run. Kittle had a couple. Brandon Ayuk had a good game. Jimmy Garoppolo has an interesting stat, since you like to give stats. Jimmy Garoppolo is like 10-1 in games where he throws for 0 touchdowns.
Yep.
This is the ultimate game manager. When he is in good positions, he can game manage the shit out of you. He will manage the game. He's like that accountant financier that'll do your taxes for you, instead of taking it to H&R Block. He's good at that. He can manage the game if you don't ask him to do too much. And the Niners didn't. The Niners were stuck with the plan. They ran the ball a lot, and they knew they were going to run the ball because it was the Chargers defense. And on the other end, their defense played really well against the Chargers offense. So the Niners, not much here. Probably moving up in my power rankings just because Dallas, I think, is going to drop down a little bit. Just Minnesota will move up a little bit. So, but Niners did what the Niners were supposed to do. They started slow, but got off to a win, held the Chargers scoreless in the second half, and they lost Drake Greenlaw. So, big time win there for the Niners.
Yeah, we'll talk about that Drake Greenlaw hit real quick. That one came in right at the end of the first half. This year right here called for targeting, got ejected. Justin Herbert had to miss the remainder of the half, which really was just like 30 seconds. So got to see a Chase Daniel sighting. Tough play. I get why they did it. I get why they ejected him. I mean, obviously there was no ill will. There was no ill intent on this play. Just a very unfortunate timing. Justin Herbert did come back though. And I mean, this is, I want to find out where you're at with the Chargers and at least this offense. I mean, this team is banged up. This team is lots of guys are hurt, but Aaron, is it more than just the injuries? Is there a reason to be like? I mean, they're 5-4. Like their record.
What do I always say?
Says,
I don't care about injuries. I don't care about those injuries. Green Bay has injuries. Well, they got to win. They wouldn't beat Dallas. Like I don't care. I don't care that Keenan Allen's hurt. I don't care that Mike Williams is hurt. As far as I do care. Obviously, I want them to be on the field, but I don't care from the standpoint of this does not absolve Justin Herbert and this offense from not winning games, or it doesn't absolve the defense for giving up 200 yards every week. I don't care. We can't pick a team to win a Super Bowl and laud them as the next coming after not even making the playoffs with the guy that they have under center. And then the first thing we do is start looking for excuses as to why they're not as good as we thought they were going to be. Can't do that. Everybody's dealing with injuries. Are we going to give – so next week when Patrick Mahomes plays bad, do you think anybody's going to be like, well, Juju's out with a concussion? Well, they lost Tyreek Hill. No, they're going to blame Patrick Mahomes for having a bad game if he has a bad game. And Justin Herbert is not elevating these younger guys to where they need to be. Josh Palmer is a competent receiver. DeAndre Carter is a competent player. Number one, I think the play calling for the Chargers is terrible. They don't run the football. Isaiah Spiller, I'm sorry, he needs to go back in the draft. He is awful. He is absolutely awful. He is not going to make it in this league. He is not. He is slow. He has no burst. He is awful at running back. As a matter of fact, they went back to Sony Michel. I saw in this game because that's how awful that Isaiah Spiller is. I'm sorry, but he's not it. But they don't offer anything that scares you on the offensive side of the football. Yeah, you get Keenan Allen back. Okay, you get a possession receiver, so Justin Herbert can throw the ball to. I don't think that makes a difference. The Chargers are in trouble because they're doing what they did last year. They have talent everywhere, but it just doesn't seem to work. And maybe they get into the playoffs this year because Denver and the Raiders, this division that we thought was so good is not good. It's so crazy. All the hype all offseason. AFC West. Oh, maybe 4 teams get in. Double-digit wins for all. We all said it. We all said it. And yet I'm watching every one of these teams. Raiders are shit. Broncos are shit. Chargers are they're kind of meh. And they win some games, lose some games. This division's not good. It's Kansas City's all day. The Chargers are in trouble because I don't think they have what it takes to get to where they thought they were going to be at. Justin Herbert's nice. I'm not saying he's a bad player. He's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
But he's not elite. He's not up there with the guys we've been talking about him up there with. I don't care what records he's broken. He hasn't done enough to earn that title yet. And the Chargers are going to – I don't know what that schedule looks like, but I'm pretty sure it's tough down the stretch. They're going to struggle. They're going to have to fight to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, it won't be easy. I thought it was funny. You look at the drive chart for the Chargers and the drive chart for the Broncos, both in the second half. Punt, punt, punt. This one for the Chargers, punt, 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 down, turnover on downs, and an interception. It's very similar to what the Broncos had in the second half. 2 offenses that are struggling. This is the Chargers' schedule, though, Aaron, the rest of the season. They got the Chiefs next week on Sunday Night Football. That was flexed. It was actually flexed into Sunday Night Football. So that's there next week. And then at Arizona, at Arizona, at Las Vegas, they play at home against the Dolphins, Tennessee, Indianapolis, the Rams, Denver. I mean, the schedule is not terrible. Like,
I don't think there's a win. I don't think there's a win on that schedule except for the Rams. I'm not saying they lose every game, but I don't think that there's a game you're just like, oh, that's a win. On the road against Arizona, on the road against the Raiders. Miami's tough. Tennessee's tough. At Indy, that's maybe you say Indy and the Rams. And then you go at Denver, which is a division game. I'm never just going to say that's an easy win either. Like, it's not like they go play Houston, and they already did that earlier this year. I mean, even you can't even say, oh, they play the Jaguars. No, they already did that, got their ass whooped earlier this year. Like,
there's the winnable games that they had. Yeah,
it's the Chargers. The reason we can't say that is because it's the Chargers. The Chargers don't have winnable games. They don't have games where we look at it and we say, oh, that's a win. Oh, that's a win. Now, if Chiefs have that same exact schedule, it's a different conversation, right? It's like, oh, that's a win. That's a win. That's a win. Maybe that game's tight, but that's a win. You can't do that with the Chargers. They're not that good of a team. So they're going to have their work cut out for them. And don't be shocked if what I said at the beginning of the year comes true and the Chargers are not in the playoffs.
Yeah, it would not surprise me. But the 49ers defeat the Los Angeles Chargers on Sunday Night Football 22-16. Both teams moved 5-4 after that game. It is now time to turn our attention to Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
It's time for our DFS plays, our prime time plays for Monday Night Football between the Washington Commanders and the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles. Aaron, you know how we do it here. This is not like our draft showdown that we do on Sundays. This is an all-out free-for-all draft free-for-all DFS that we share with 100 people, 100 of our fans. They join us and they try and claim that number one spot. A little bit better of a game for DFS plays. A lot of some fun, more fun names instead of the what was it? Who do we have this past week on Thursday night? Who played Thursday night? Why am I forgetting who played Thursday night? Carolina, Atlanta. Yeah, much more exciting names in this one as opposed to Carolina and Atlanta. Any instant reactions from your lineup here when you're first putting it together?
A lot of Eagles.
Yeah.
A lot of Eagles, and I think Jalen Hurts has to be your captain.
Oh, I have AJ. I put AJ Brown as my captain.
Oh, that's fine, but
I think it's hard with money too. I'm having a hard time spreading. I was just gonna go down the list of all the guys that between AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, but then I'm like, okay, I don't know how you want to do this with everything else. It's not. This isn't easy. This isn't easy once you get past the big names. To be completely honest,
it's never easy, but I mean, it's what we got to do. So I have Jalen Hurts as my captain.
Okay.
I feel like that's just what it's got to be. I'm gonna go both running backs for Philly. I'm gonna go Gainwell and Sanders.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go. Idea. I think I'm gonna switch it up a little bit so I can get both quarterbacks in there. I'm gonna take Taylor Heineke. Ew.
Yeah.
You know what?
This is tough.
This is going to be interesting, but I'm going to say that the Commanders play. It's at Philly. Ugh.
Yeah, it's at Philly.
I can't do that. I can't have Washington's defense in there.
Yeah.
All right. I think.
Oh wait, hold on. I messed up. I messed up on this. I need to do some.
Hey.
Let's get some DFS jams. Let's get some DFS jams here while we pick our teams.
Yeah, I'm not having very much success with this.
Yeah, this is tough. Like once you get past the big names, it's kind of like dart throws with everyone else. Like I'm trying to figure out where to go. I think I'm starting to get somewhere though. I feel like I'm starting to get somewhere. I think I have. This may be my team. I'm going to look over one more time and say it maybe out loud. Maybe changes will come. AJ Brown is my captain. Jalen Hurts. I have the Eagles defense. Terry McLaurin, Kenneth Gainwell, and Daimi Brown is my team. I don't hate that team. I don't hate it.
All right, I have my team too. predict this is a higher scoring game. I don't have any Philly receivers, which worries me, but maybe they spread the ball around a little bit. And it's a bunch of rushing touchdowns from Jalen Hurts and the running backs. I'm going Jalen Hurts, Kenneth Gainwell, Miles Sanders, both running backs. Anytime they run the ball, I'm getting the touch. Taylor Heineke, Jahan Dotson, who's back, and Logan Thomas.
I was worried about the Jahan Dotson one, and I was like, man, I don't. He's great. He's a great player, and I was like flipping back and forth between. I was like, if I have Terry McLaurin, and do I have Jahan Dotson, and does it make sense? And I'm like, well, I added Damian Brown, so obviously I trust another wide receiver. But yeah, that's it right there. That's our prime time plays for tonight's Monday Night Football game between the Eagles and the Manders. I have the Eagles winning this one. Aaron, who did you have?
We all had the Eagles.
Everyone had the Eagles.
You've already won the DraftKings for the week, and I've already won the Pick'em for the week.
Oh, there you go. What's our records at right now? What do you know what the records are for everything?
Yeah, I do. So let me bring this up. Show assets. So the DraftKings right now, I have not added in this week's DraftKings, but we can tell because AJ still has some players tonight. But he only has 80 points, so he's out of it. But going into this week, I was up 14. I was up on you by 70 going to last week. So I was up on you 56 going to this week, and you won by 35. So you've caught me. Yeah, you basically caught me. The other two aren't close, but they've missed weeks, and it's really me and you.
Yeah,
yeah. Dylan is not even involved. And then for the as far as the pick'ems, AJ has a pretty commanding lead over me, I should say. And he has a 2-game lead now over you. 81 picks right so far for AJ, 79 for you, and I am in a whopping 73. And I won this last year, but I did make up some ground this week because I had Carolina winning. I had the Giant, or I had who else did I have? I had somebody over you guys. Or maybe it was just Carolina. Yeah, I had Carolina winning this week. Oh, AJ had Seattle. And that didn't pan out very well for him.
No, it did not. I also had Seattle as well, I think, in this one. But yeah, all right. Well, that's where we're at in our picks. That's where we're at in our DFS plays. We'll be back again live tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern time, bringing you our fantasy drive. Bringing you our fantasy content, our rankings for week 11, our recap of week 12 in fantasy, all that and so much more live at 10 a.m. Eastern time right here on the Sack City Podcast, right here on YouTube. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. For my best friend Aaron Mukes, I am myself. We will see you tomorrow.
Peace out.
We know we are a much better team.